It is the Riot Podcast. This is the Friday, September 1st edition. And since we've been doing this every Friday, we've been doing some football-related stuff. Today, it's the last Friday before the NFL season kicks off, so we're doing NFL predictions for the season. This is official. This is it. Have you finalized your choices, Isaiah?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and we'll just we'll go division by division. We'll just see who we have. We'll see how many we agree on. Let's start with the NFC. Let's start with the East.
Eagles.
Cowboys.
I don't hate it, but I don't agree with it.
I just think the Cowboys, I think they're going to be good in the regular season. I'll tell you right now, they're not my Super Bowl pick, but I think they have a very talented roster. Mike McCarthy's okay enough that he can get them to have a good record. And the Eagles, I think they'll still make the playoffs, but I think you think their coaching staff has a lot of turnover. Maybe they just start a little slower because they had a long season last year. I don't know. I just think switch it up a little bit.
I like it. I like your style.
But obviously I can't complain about your Eagles pick. NFC North.
Vikings.
I'm taking the Packers.
Such a homer pick.
But is it, though?
Yes. I mean, that is wild.
Is it wild?
Their quarterback is Jordan Love.
They play in a terrible conference, a terrible division.
The division's fine.
It's not very good.
The Vikings won like 13 games last year.
I don't have any other team in the division making the playoffs.
The Lions, the Vikings, just the Packers.
Yeah.
The Packers had made the playoffs last year with Aaron Rodgers, and you expect them to win the division this year with Jordan Love and the exact same team?
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers, he was hurt last year. What can you say?
Jordan
They started slow.
You think Jordan Love will play better than Aaron Rodgers did last year?
I think he will play good enough. I think he'll play good enough.
You dodged the question.
They're going to be like,
answer the question.
Also, they have a much easier schedule this year. One of the easiest schedules in the league. And I think that's good enough for them to win 10 games. I think the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, getting kind of old.
You have blind faith in Jordan Love. Blind faith.
No, I don't have blind faith.
It's blind faith. He's never proven that he's anything more than just a backup quarterback.
I think, I'll tell you, they had a real good sign for me. You want to hear this real good sign? Why I think I have a lot of confidence that they have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love is that they were trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor. What do you need Jonathan Taylor for if you're a team that you think you're going to suck this year? You think Jordan Love's going to be no good? They're trying to load up. They're trying to win a Super Bowl.
So you're telling me, now realistically, I don't even buy into they were trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor.
Well, it's reporting that's been confirmed.
It's wild because they have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, why not add one more to the mix?
Why wouldn't we just get 3 running backs and no wide receivers? Maybe they can run some sort of wing T in Green Bay. Kind of a throwback.
Do something real different.
I like it. Yeah, no wide receivers, just running backs. That is the formula for the NFL right now.
You don't trade for Jonathan Taylor if you think you have a bad team, if you think you have no shot at the Super Bowl. So whatever they're doing, you know what? Maybe
they try to trade for a wide receiver.
I'd be surprised because I've watched them for several years, but maybe Matt LaFleur is just one step ahead. Maybe I don't know. But they're also, again, division bad. Lions, don't buy it. Bears obviously suck. Vikings, Kirk Cousins, old. Last year they just won a bunch of one-score games. So I think the door's open for Green Bay.
I think your expectations are high. You're going to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt.
I don't have them in the Super Bowl either. Jeez.
You have them making the playoffs. I would say integrity. 7 games. Jeez, okay. Move on.
NFC South.
The Saints.
The Falcons. Now it's time for you to defend your choice.
The Saints?
Do you have the Saints?
Yes. The Saints, number one, this division is terrible.
Yeah.
And the Saints
somebody's got to win it.
The Saints have a real quarterback. Derek Carr's a real quarterback.
Let me ask you this. How much better you think Derek Carr really is than Andy Dalton?
Better. Much better.
How much? Like how much, though?
I mean, a handful better. A huge step better. He's like a franchise quarterback. Derek Carr's a franchise quarterback. Andy Dalton is like a fill-in for 3 games if your starter gets hurt, and maybe he can win one of those 3 games.
I just don't buy. I think obviously Derek Carr's better because he's starting in the league and Andy Dalton isn't, but I don't think he's that much better. I don't think he's going to make a difference. And they're in a bad division. I think they're like the most average of average teams.
But their schedule, there's only one quarterback. I think this might be factual. There's only one quarterback the Saints play this season that is better than Derek Carr. it's Trevor Lawrence. Other than that, and if you want to say Kirk Cousins is better, you can say Kirk Cousins is better. If you want to say Jared Goff is better, you can say Jared Goff. But other than that, I don't even think it's questionable whether or not the rest of the quarterbacks, they have a quarterback advantage. And if you have a quarterback advantage, you're going to win a lot of games.
You want to hear a crazy stat I just heard? That the Saints, what do they have, 17 games?
Yeah.
They're favored in, I think, 14 of the games. And yet the average line on all of their games, you average it all out, is like 1 point.
Heck yeah, baby! But they're going to win a bunch.
The most average of average teams.
But they're going to win. But they're going to win. I bet they win like 11 games. They're going to be. I bet they'll be up for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Their schedule is that easy. It's that easy. It's not that I think they're great, but their schedule is so easy. If you look up online the New Orleans Saints schedule, I don't know if I've ever seen a schedule that is this easy.
The Falcons have an easy schedule, too. I mean, they're in the same division. And
but we just don't know what their quarterback is.
They won 7 games with Marcus Mariota
who's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah, but he's not very good.
Do you think Desmond Ritter's going to be better? For what reason?
If he's at least as good and the rest of the team is better, which they should be. They got Bijan Robinson. It's another year. I mean, they had a real bad roster when Arthur Smith took over as coach. So I think they've got a higher ceiling than the Saints do.
I just think that I've never seen, I can't think of the last time a rookie quarterback has ever even won a division, let alone a division where there already is a good quarterback in it, which is Derek Carr.
I think you have way too much faith in Derek Carr.
And I think you have way too much faith in Desmond Ridder, who played at Cincinnati and has never played a good game in the NFL.
NFC West.
Chargers.
Seahawks. NFC West.
NFC West, sorry. Seahawks. We're with that.
We finally agree.
The Seahawks. Geno Smith.
Do you know who you have the other 3 teams making the playoffs in the NFC?
Who I have making the playoffs? I'm not sure. I don't have the wild cards. Who do you have? Who do you have?
Eagles, Giants, and Rams.
I think it'll probably be Eagles, Giants, Rams.
Rams, yeah.
Rams are that's a hot take there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else. I mean, I think I'll have probably the Lions will be right there for me, probably making it. I think the Cowboys will be right there making it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else. 49ers probably. If I had to pick one more.
Let's do the AFC. Let's start with the West.
Chiefs.
All right, I don't have to. There's nothing I have to do to defend picking the Chiefs.
No.
But why do you think the Chargers?
I think the Chargers are. I mean, they're always a solid team. They've got an elite quarterback. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he's about as close in the league as you can get to Patrick Mahomes with Justin Herbert. I think the only thing that the Chargers have on the Chiefs right now is their weapons are so good with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett. Like, their offense is stacked. But at the same time, the Chiefs, I can see them getting off to a slow start. I think their offense is good because they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But everyone outside of that on their offense, if they went anywhere else, would not even be considered a solid player for that team. And so that's the only reason I think the Chiefs maybe aren't set up to have as good of a regular season. In the playoffs, they're going to be great. I would pick the Chiefs over the Chargers every time in the playoffs. But regular season-wise, I think the Chargers are going to put together a real good regular season.
I think the Chargers, I don't even have them making the playoffs. I think this is finally the year that Brandon Staley, their coach, it catches up to him because
I don't love Staley.
He's no good. I mean, like, if he was really
but that's how good Justin Herbert is he is overcoming that every year. He has a bad head coach, and he overcomes it every year.
I just think their team, and this could be largely because of the coach, but they just never live up to expectations. I think they have a lot of players, and I think Justin Herbert's one of them that just doesn't live up to expectations.
Justin Herbert, how does he not live up to expectations? He's
because
great.
They go 10-7 every year.
That's a great scale. Any team would take that. Any team would take going 10-7 every year. They made the playoffs every year. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's a stud. He's so good. He's an elite quarterback.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
Almost every team. If you didn't have Joe Burrow, if you didn't have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you probably would take Justin Herbert on your team over anybody else.
Oh, that's not true.
That is true. That is a fact.
Let's do the NFC or AFC South.
Titans. Yeah, Titans.
Yeah.
Neither of us buying the Jags hype.
No, I think they're a year away still.
I think they're going to be solid, but I think they're going to miss the division. I think they could still make the playoffs.
And I think the Titans are going to be really good.
You think they'll be really good?
Yeah.
I think they'll be. I mean, they're always a really good regular season team. Ryan Tannehill.
That's exactly what they'll be.
Derrick Henry, D-Hop. I mean, they won't be any good in the playoffs.
No,
they'll be good in the regular season.
AFC North.
Browns. Cleveland. The Cleveland Brownies.
I have the Browns too. I think they'll have a better year than the Bengals.
I hope so. This is the first year, and even though my pick doesn't reflect this, I'm coming in with just medium expectations. Like, I think our cap is winning like 10 or 11 games.
Uh-huh.
I think our floor is winning like 6 games. And if we did any of it, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm coming in. I'm very mediated. I'm in the middle.
It's hard to picture a team with Deshaun Watson, a quarterback, only winning 6 games, though.
I know.
I just feel like he can't be so bad as he was last year. I think they've got to be at least 500. It would be a real shock if they weren't. And I think that's like the floor. So I think they have a pretty good year. Let's do the AFC East. Jets. Dolphins. That's outrageous.
That hurts your heart a little.
Yeah, you're picking like the worst quarterback in the division, and he might not even play all the games.
Whoa, that's not true. Mac Jones is the worst. Tua was up for MVP last year at one point. If he doesn't get hurt, if he gets hurt, then they're done. And I will say that.
Uh-huh.
If he gets injured, concussed again, Dolphins scratch him the second that happens. It's over. No playoffs, no nothing. Losing record, depending on when it happens.
Yeah.
But if he plays the whole season, I think they have just as much of a shot at winning that division as the Bills and the Jets. I think it's just a 3-man race. It's literally just a flip of a coin of who you want to pick. If you want to pick the Jets, you can pick the Jets. Doesn't surprise me. If you want to pick the Bills, pick the Bills. If you want to pick the Dolphins, I'm cool. It's like if you, in any of the other divisions, if you picked the third place team, most people will be shocked. But that division's so good that a lot of people are putting the Dolphins at the 3. And I think they could just as easily be the 1.
All right. This has gone on long enough. What's your Super Bowl pick?
Seahawks out of the NFC. Love the Seahawks.
I also have the Seahawks.
You're ridiculous.
What? I'm agreeing with you.
Did you just not pick it because I picked it?
No. What about my other picks makes you think I would do that?
I know. You're right. We've argued on every single one. Seahawks versus... We probably have the same.
Yeah, we probably do, right? Jets.
Cleveland.
I thought you said that you didn't.
They're my team, okay?
Yeah.
I'm homering my Super Bowl pick.
So you're invalidating your pick. I believe in the Jets.
I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't tell you to bet on the Browns, ever. I wouldn't even tell you to bet on the Browns to have a winning record. I wouldn't do that to my loyal listeners. I wouldn't lead you astray like that. But if you ask me who I think is going to the Super Bowl, the Cleveland Browns, baby, and I'll say it every year. Next year, guess who I think is going to the Super Bowl? The Cleveland Browns. Until we really, really suck, then I'll be real.
But
until then,
I like the Browns. I don't like them that much. I would be shocked if they're in the Super Bowl, but I definitely think they'll make the playoffs. But the Jets, I mean, tell me about a hole on the roster. And when you've got the best quarterback that's ever lived helming the way and the best roster in the league, I don't know what else you want from them. So I think they will beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
So you have Jets winning it all.
I do. And I believe that.
I love it.
All right.
Football is back, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. The Brownies will possibly fail me again, but you know who won't fail me? The Buckeyes. They play tomorrow. OSU, baby. We're back. I can't wait.
It is the Riot.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is the Riot on Radio U.
If you see a bag full of money that's just lying there on the street, seemingly with thousands of dollars inside, what do you do? I'm asking you.
You know what to do.
No, I don't. I based off of this story, I actually don't.
You take it.
You take it, and then?
And then when somebody asks you about it, you return it if they want it.
Okay.
But if they don't come asking, then it's yours.
Finders
That's how
keepers,
it works, right?
Finders keepers.
You're not going to just ignore the bag, and you're not going to, you should pick it up like you would like a $20 bill. You look around, see if you know anybody around, if it could be theirs.
Okay.
And if it's not, you just put it in your pocket, and you slowly walk away.
Act like nothing happened.
And then if somebody approaches you, then you're like, oh my gosh, I would have returned it to you had I known it was yours. I looked around quickly to see if anybody looked like they were missing a $20 bill, but nobody's face was telling me they were.
Well, this happened in Connecticut, where a man has now been charged with larceny. 3rd-degree larceny.
3rd degree?
Yeah. Is that worse? I don't remember how the degrees work. Is first worst, or is first is the worst? 3rd degree is, I don't know. He was charged with larceny. because he found a bag on Placid Street that was full of about $5,000 of cash. And what did he do? He did exactly what you would have done. He went ahead and picked up the bag. He thought he didn't think he literally won the lottery, but he's like, man, I won the lottery. This is all mine. And it turns out it was the town's tax money, a bag that was dropped. It was right outside of a bank. And so he could have just taken it into the bank. But how was he to know? Is what I'm wondering.
You would think like maybe it's one of those like YouTube things where they just leave a bag of money outside of a bank for someone to pick up. And then you was just your lucky day. You got the $5,000.
I'm sure when he was confronted, he probably thought it was a prank, right? Like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
He probably thought, what? How could this?
How
really?
could someone mess up so badly?
Who would drop $5,000, a bag worth $5,000 in it?
Yeah, what schmuck would leave this sitting here?
And then how would
crazy?
And how would that be my fault that they did that?
Yeah, like obviously if I saw a bag of $5,000 sitting there, I wouldn't be like someone left this here on accident. Because if I had a bag that had $5,000 in it, I'd be protecting it with my life. I wouldn't just forget it somewhere. So clearly it didn't mean enough to the guy that was supposed to be carrying it.
Yeah, but I was wondering about this, and the problem is, it was in a bank deposit bag. It was marked with the bank's insignia and contained numerous documents that identified the owner of the contents was the town of Trumbull. So that's like finding a wallet with an ID and a phone number and
not
an
calling
address.
it.
Yeah, and not returning the wallet full of money.
That's different.
Yeah.
I assumed the bag was just like a sack of cash.
Yeah, I thought it would be just a blank bag, or maybe it had like in the cartoons like a dollar sign.
Yeah,
that's what I was picturing in my mind, because I thought maybe it would be unmarked because they don't want to draw attention. They don't want to call attention to look at this giant bag of money, because then
giant sack of money. Yeah,
that would just tempt thieves, and so they might keep it unmarked. But apparently that wasn't the case, and so I guess this guy should have known, and it was right outside of a bank, and so I guess he could have done two things. He could have taken it into the bank, or he could have done what I maybe would have done at that point and just didn't want the hassle and just left it there.
Ooh, that'd have been wild.
Yeah, but
just walking by it?
You know it's not yours.
But wouldn't you take it inside
to see
if they'd like give you a reward?
They're not going to give you a reward.
It feels like they might give you a reward.
Yeah, you want to talk about cartoons. This isn't a cartoon. You don't get a reward.
You walk inside and you're like, hey, it looks like you guys misplaced this bag of $5,000. I'm just doing the right thing. And then the TV network picks it up, and all of a sudden there's a GoFundMe for you.
I don't think this is real life we're talking about.
You're right. The guy should have just spent it all.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Khloe Kardashian had her child, her most recent baby, a little over a year ago. She didn't actually name it.
What'd she do with it?
On her birth certificate, she just called it Baby Kardashian.
What's a cute name? It's kind of like Baby Driver.
Yeah.
You've seen the movie.
I have seen the movie. She just called it Baby on the birth certificate, but now she's finally settled on a name for the child her and Tristan Thompson had together.
Former NBA star for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm. The new name for the 13-month-old is Tatum. And in fact, she's actually monikered him Tatum Thompson after her father.
Okay.
Yeah, going with the father's last name, even though initially it was Baby Kardashian. Now it is Tatum Thompson. What do you think about that?
So 13 months in, she decides to name the child.
She finally chose, I guess they chose a name.
And at 13 months, Tatum can't speak or anything, right?
I'm going to say probably not.
Okay. I don't hate it, but also it just feels weird to give it a name after 1 year. Like 1 year's a long time. Not even like a month. Like you couldn't figure it out after a month. Like imagine if you got a dog.
Mm-hmm.
In the first year you called it dog. Like a year's a long time.
I think you
to
just
not
keep
have a name.
calling it dog at that point.
Yeah, like a year. Like maybe if it was like 2 months and then you're like, okay, we finally settled on Sprinkles.
Mhm.
That's what we're going to call the cat. But a full year? That's a long time to not have a name yet. You're overthinking it at that point. Just give the dog a name. Give baby Kardashian a name.
Yeah. I guess 13 months was her limit. I think, you wait that long, you might as well just wait till baby Kardashian can talk.
And he just decide
And
for
then,
himself.
Yeah, let him choose.
What do you want to be called, baby?
Yeah.
At that point, he is baby.
But
After a year, everybody's used to calling him baby. Is that what, like, grandma's calling him baby?
Yeah, everybody.
Aunts and uncles calling him baby?
Uh-huh. Auntie Kim calling him baby. Yeah, they probably got used to that. Or do you think they used this 13 months to test out different names?
Oh, they called him a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
They were like, let's try Christopher today. Today we're calling him Chris.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we'll call him John.
Uh-huh. And then they started calling him Tatum, and all this, at 13 months in, they called him so many different names.
They hadn't landed on
None
one
of
yet.
them stuck. And finally, somebody's like, what if we, hey, little baby Tatum, this way. And he listened, and he crawled over to him. You think that's how it works?
This kid's going to have a tough future is all I'm thinking. Like my dog, Jim, he barely even knows his name now. He's 2.5 years old.
Uh-huh.
So Tatum, I feel like he's went through so many different names at this point.
Yeah, if that's how it actually went down.
A lot of confusion in this young boy's
A
mind.
little identity crisis, perhaps. But I guess if that's how it actually went down, where they were testing out different names, that makes sense. Because the other thing I thought was, is that after 13 months, like I expected something much better.
I know. We could have came up with this 6 months ago.
Uh-huh.
Like Tatum for real.
Yeah.
His dad's name's Tristan. We're like 3 letters off.
Uh-huh.
Like we couldn't have came up with this.
It's not like nobody's been named Tatum before.
Yeah, this isn't some crazy
You
name.
had some light bulb moment.
Oh, you came up with Doug, huh? Doug Kardashian. Wow. Pretty incredible.
I don't know what I would have expected. After 13 months, I just
more.
expect something more impressive.
We wanted more.
Something shocking, perhaps. Memorable, but Tatum Thompson. I mean, it's a cool name. If the baby was just born and they called it Tatum Thompson, I'd be like, that's pretty cool.
That's a good name. Good, strong name.
But 13 months in,
You
I just expect
want
more.
a little bit more.
13 months, and if you count like when she was pregnant, then like this is like 2 years she's had to plot this.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere
it's been 2
else.
years.
And that's probably for the best.
Welcome
The
everybody.
Worst
This
of
is
the
Fred, my
Riot.
son.
Radio
A
U.
lot of time thinking about that. The headline is American Airlines flight attendants vote in favor of going on strike.
Everybody loves a good strike, apparently.
It's a big time for strikes. However, if you saw that and maybe panicked because you have a flight this weekend or two, it's not as bad as it sounds. American Airlines flight attendants have voted to go on strike. They have voted in favor of going on strike. I think that's the big part. They're not going on strike.
Because how else would you get that water?
That's right. So
and them pretzels.
You think you could go through a whole flight with no flight attendants?
There's sometimes that I sleep through the whole thing and I don't notice them anyway.
Yeah. But who would give the announcement that shows you how to blow up the little safety vest thing?
That's true.
You gotta, I think legally they need somebody to do that. So the flight attendants need to. I am curious if all of the flight attendants go on strike, and I'm sure this has happened before, does that mean that they just can't, like American Airlines wouldn't be allowed to fly? Would they just have to ground all flights? Because that can't be, right?
Yeah, there's no way.
That can't be. But I'll tell you that they did. The Association of Professional Flight Attendants says that 99% of their members voted in favor of going on strike against American Airlines. However, they voted on going on strike if negotiations with the airline do not yield significant improvements.
So what are they so upset about?
So there's a whole road they have to go down to before they would actually get to striking. And it's probably really easy to say, yes, I would go on strike if you're not in imminent danger of actually having to go on strike and miss out on paychecks, you know? But you know what they want? They want more money.
So anybody can just do on strike nowadays?
If you're in a union.
You want to know what the average flight attendant?
Yeah.
You want to know how much they make?
I do.
It says here, flight attendants earn an average salary in 2021 of $62,000.
That's not that much. I wonder what the perks are like.
That feels pretty solid.
62,000
For a flight attendant, Hudson?
It's a lot of hours. It's very demanding.
But at the same time, what's your biggest responsibility? I mean, I know we don't know the behind the scenes of the job. But it doesn't feel like
$62,000 that's the average, by the way. So that means there's a lot of people that make less than that.
Yeah, there's people that make less than
and
that.
That's not that much in 2023. It's not working at Burger King. It's not a part-time job. You have to devote your life to being a flight attendant.
Yeah, you do. You travel around. And I guess if you're not getting like a food stipend and things like that when you get off the airplane,
you probably get like hotels and stuff. I mean, I imagine that's how
you
it
would
think
works. You
but
get
that's
like
not
a
really
hotel and a food stipend.
It's not really a perk if they're forcing you to like stay overnight. But you're stuck in Atlanta for the evening because you have a shift the next day where you're flying out of. Like that's not really a perk.
I mean, what's the longest you're gonna be working for? 4 hours?
What do you mean? There's flights that are like 18 hours long. I don't think you get to tag out.
Yeah, but a majority of people that are doing a flight attendant are going to Europe.
Yeah.
They're going from Columbus to Florida.
I don't know. There's a lot of flights.
I'd just say I'm sure you could choose too if you're going from Columbus to Florida or Columbus to Uruguay.
Think about this, right? A lot of flights aren't that long, but the flight attendants stay with the plane that it goes from Columbus to Atlanta to Jacksonville to Memphis, and they have to do that whole round trip.
You can only work so many hours in a row.
I know you can.
They are at hour 16 like, would you like your water? Would you like your water? I've been awake for 27 hours straight.
How many flight attendants look real happy to you, though?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like at the same time, nobody looks happy on an airplane in that metal trap.
Listen, this is how I can end the argument. All that money that they're charging us to fly, they can't give a few more bucks to the flight attendants. Although then that would just be the flight attendant fee they're going to tack on. They're not going to take it out of their profits.
Maybe we should become flight attendants. We should look into the job. I mean, they're about to get a pay raise.
Yeah,
this is the perfect time to get in.
So easy. You make it sound so easy.
I'm just saying. I mean, I feel as if I really put my heart into it, I could do it.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
A bowl named Howdy Doody, a Watusi Bowl, is in the news after it was unfortunately pulled over by police. I believe it's in Nebraska, the town Arnold, Nebraska. Are you familiar?
Never been to Arnold. I've never been to Nebraska either.
Arnold, but you can't just get away in Arnold, Nebraska with driving around a regular, what seems to be sedan, with a giant Watusi bowl sticking out the side of it. You're not allowed to do that in the passenger seat, but that's exactly what was going on. And there's impressive video of it from the local news there in Nebraska, where you could see the guy who was driving around with this bowl. The guy's name is Lee Meyer, and he's outfitted his car completely so that it can be made to tote Howdy Doody, the Watusi Bowl, around town.
This is nuts. Like, he literally split his car in half.
Yeah.
He cut half of his car off. So that the bowl could sit in the passenger seat. But Hudson, the thing that is the worst about this whole thing is if you look at the car.
Yeah.
If you look just behind the bowl, the car is covered in poop.
Oh, no. I guess that's bound to happen.
Like, covered in poop. And this bowl, I mean, it's not like it's like, we're talking about a bowl, I'm talking about full-fledged horns like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, I wouldn't have known what a Watusi Bowl is without seeing it here.
It's got a full rack.
But, you're talking about big horns.
I mean, the biggest horns you can imagine on a bowl. That's what this thing's whipping out.
The horns have to be like weighing down its head.
Yeah, they're huge.
Of these things.
I mean, humongous horns on it.
In fact, I have to imagine that the horn that extends over onto the driver's side would be obstructing the driver, Lee Meyer's view.
Like, when I think about
just one of the many things that makes it very dangerous to drive a car around.
Think about being the police officer who pulled this guy over.
Yeah.
Like, that alone would be terrifying. This bowl is humongous. I mean, this bowl has to weigh close to as much as the car. He's weighing the whole right side down.
Oh, the poop.
I know. You see that now?
Now, having this vehicle makes sense. Some of the locals are actually defending Lee Meyer for driving Howdy Doody the Bull around town. They're defending him because they say that he's the bull is beloved and it gives people a lot around town. It's a local icon and they get a lot of joy from seeing this bull. However, that would be like in the fireman's parade or something.
Yeah.
That, like they say, and the car is literally got a sign on it that says best car entry for whatever parade they do in town. But he's just driving it normally with the bull in tow inside. Is
that illegal though? Is it illegal?
It's got to be illegal.
But like, why is it illegal? You know?
Well, because the horns, this bull's horns are so big, somebody coming the opposite direction could get impaled.
See, I just feel like, I drive my dog Jim around all the time. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a chicken in my car, no big deal. If you have a bull, would it be different if it was a cow? Would people be so upset if it was just a normal cow? I feel like they wouldn't.
Probably
you were
not,
driving a cow around.
It's not as big and not as
There's
dangerous.
no horns. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if there's anything wrong with this, but at the same time, it is dangerous. He's a big bull. He's huge. It also looks ridiculous. If you want to catch the video, we'll text it to you. It looks unreal.
It could be dangerous just for the fact that it's so distracting to people.
It is distracting. It says a Watusi bull usually on average weighs about 1,500 pounds. A small car on average weighs about 2,500 pounds. It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah. Why doesn't he just ride the bull?
That would be
around
cooler,
town?
too.
Yeah, that would be cooler.
But this car does look insane. He literally ripped half of it off. So, and the other thing is, this bull just sits in the car. Like, he's driving down the highway, and it's just chilling.
Well,
no
where's
issues.
it supposed to go?
I know, but you think, like, it would be freaking out, and it's just chill.
Yeah.
Hanging out. He's, like, petting it side.
He does have a calm demeanor. You know what? Our job is to paint pictures with words in a way. There's no way we can do this justice. You've got to see it. So text us at 8772 Radio U, and we'll send it your way.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Lay's, they do the crossover flavors they do every year. I don't know, is that every summer? I don't really know what the routine is, but I know they just routinely do them. In the past, they've done crossovers with Funyuns, crossovers with, which are very good. They've done crossovers with Cheetos, with Flamin' Hot stuff, Doritos. And now this one's really exciting because they brought back a flavor that was extinct here in the United States. That is all dressed Ruffles.
They're kettle cooked, baby.
They're kettle cooked. So these all dressed Ruffles is a flavor that apparently they stopped making. I didn't even know that. But in Canada, they didn't stop making it. It's very popular. If you look at the bag, it's got a Canadian maple leaf on it. There's a huge flavor in Canada. Apparently, in the United States, not as popular, but they brought it back for this crossover event. And Isaiah, on a first smell test, what are you thinking?
They smell like salt and vinegar.
Yeah, very vinegary.
Which I like. I love a good salt and vinegar chip.
Mm-hmm.
And I love kettle cooked chips, so I have high expectations for these.
Yes, I do too. I mean, have you ever had all dressed Ruffles before?
I don't know that I have.
Then you're in for a treat, I think. Because I'm Canadian, so maybe I'm biased, but all dressed is one of the best flavors of chip for sure. So I'm highly excited for these also.
Well, I'm ready.
All right, let's crunch in.
Very good. Oh, yeah.
Oh. And the kettle cooked works so perfect with these flavors. In fact, dare I say,
Better. Has to be, right?
Better than the actual Ruffles. Mm-hmm.
Kettle cooked are so good.
Dang, this just delivered 100% on my expectations. These are so perfect. Why would they ever discontinue this flavor? It's so good. I don't even know how to describe it.
It's like a twist on salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah, because salt and vinegar is much more like makes you pucker up way more, you know? This is much milder, but
this isn't going to make my tongue raw. after
Right.
eating a bunch of them. Like salt and vinegar
That's right.
will raw out your tongue.
It hurts to eat them.
When you
as
finish
good
a
as they
bag of
are.
salt and vinegar, if you do a whole bag, your tongue is just sandpaper.
Yeah.
These things won't do that quite that much to you.
You could eat these. You could eat one of these and still touch your eyes afterwards.
Yeah.
But they do taste similar, but there's some kind of additional seasoning on there. I don't know what it is, what kind of magic, what kind of Canadian magic they sprinkle on these to make them all dressed, but it's good. Let's just take a few moments and just eat a bunch of chips.
They're so good.
I know.
This is what all dress means. Ready?
Okay.
Ketchup, barbecue, sour cream and onion, and salt and vinegar flavors all rolled into
So
one
it's just
chip.
all the flavors.
Yeah, it's all dressed.
I guess that makes sense. I would have never guessed that.
I guess the salt and vinegar just shows through the most.
Yeah.
But I do get the little bit of barbecue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what. I don't
It kind
really.
of tastes like a mixture of salt and vinegar and barbecue.
Yeah.
I don't really get the sour cream and onion as much. I'm definitely not getting any ketchup. But I get it's like a barbecue salt and vinegar chip. It's real good.
It's like
Mainly
some,
salt and vinegar with a little splash of barbecue.
some employee at Lay's in Canada one day decided to run a chip through all of the different manufacturing lines, and it wound up being a really beautiful experiment, apparently.
Yeah, it's called potato chips flavored with all the dressings.
Give me all the dressings.
Dang, I feel real silly now not being able to figure that out myself.
Yeah, I guess we should have guessed. Well, they're real good, Canadian or not. They're delicious. And this food fight, can I give it a perfect 5 out of 5?
No, you can give it a 5 out of 5.
Why not? What is wrong with
You're
these?
saying this is the best thing we've ever tried. You would take this over every other chip, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I would.
No, you would not.
I would strongly. It would be in the Mount Rushmore of chips.
I'd give it a 4.1. A realistic score.
Still the highest.
You always overscore.
Still the highest average.
It's a good score. It's a good chip. I would buy it. I would buy it.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Check this out. Check out these statistics and see if they mean anything to you, Isaiah. Did you know that in any given day, just 12% of the U.S. population makes up for 50% of America's beef consumption?
Americans love beef.
12% of them do.
12% of them really love it.
Yeah.
It's all they're eating
Eat a lot
over the course of a day.
beef. And you want to know who that 12% disproportionately is?
Who is that?
Men.
Shocker.
That 12% that's eating all that beef is way more men than women. It's also people over 50 that are eating much more than people our age.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty surprising.
Why do you think that is? I have one theory.
Let's hear it.
Because,
I have a theory.
yeah, I think I'll tell you one reason is because beef is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You map out the meats. Beef is on the higher end versus chicken and pork, wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
So unless we're just going, I mean, how often, think about this. How often do you eat beef that's not in a burger?
Pretty low, pretty low.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had 2 hamburgers.
Okay.
This week, I've eaten 6 hamburgers.
So it sounds like you're part of the 12%. Then.
I think I've eaten at least 7 hamburgers this week.
No, you have not.
I have eaten
you
7
eaten
hamburgers.
anything else?
I've eaten 7 hamburgers this week. Maybe more. I've had a son of a Baconator, a junior bacon cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger that I made at home yesterday. That's 2 patties.
Yeah.
And then a couple nights ago, I had 2 cheeseburgers yet again made at home by myself.
It sounds like you're in the 12% there, buddy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
But
You're
man's
just
man, I like beef.
You're just disproportionately eating a lot of beef. Now, that was another question that I had, is why do you think it is that men are so much more likely to eat beef? And what is it about beef that makes it a manly food?
I don't know.
Just really good marketing.
Because you're eating an animal, maybe? Could that be it? It seems very carnivorish.
Yeah, but why wouldn't a woman do that?
I mean, they do that.
They do, but why is it not? Why is it
Why do men
manly?
love meat so much more than women? I don't know.
I think it's
a pride thing? Could it be prideful?
It probably is. There's probably some I don't know how to put it, but the idea that it's like, even though we aren't the ones killing the beef, you and I.
It's almost like it's like an ego thing.
It's like a dominance thing.
It's like
a power thing.
Yeah, we overtook them.
Yeah.
We overpowered them.
I'm a man. I'm powerful. I eat beef.
Isn't that wild?
I eat a burger that I didn't kill.
Men are so barbaric.
I know.
Why is that our thing? I don't understand how that's our thing.
But the same thing too, because I guess if all this is true, then it would stand to reason that like women would be more likely to be vegetarians, which, do you think that's true? I think it's true.
Oh, it's for sure true.
Because they're more kind and caring, and so they wouldn't want to hurt. They're less likely to want to hurt a creature.
Why does that get to be their thing? That sounds so much nicer.
I don't know.
Wouldn't you rather that be your thing? I would rather be known as kind and caring.
We could be kind and caring.
Than be like a prideful, egotistical killer. That's what men are known as.
The only thing holding us back from being that is doing it.
Well, that doesn't mean it's just a stereotype.
First, you got to stop eating burgers. First of all.
Whoa. Let's not get crazy.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Labor Day weekend, going to be a lot of parties, a lot of cookouts, a lot of good times had over the weekend. But if you are in New York City, you better watch out. You don't want your good time to get too good, because they'll be watching you.
Who is this they? Who's this they you're speaking of?
The eye in the sky. New York City is going to be using drones to conduct surveillance on large outdoor parties and gatherings this weekend.
Well, that seems like a weird thing to do. It seems like they're crossing the line.
Does it?
I don't want you in my backyard.
They'll be high above. You'll hardly notice.
I don't care. Don't spy on me, you weirdos.
They're not so here's what's actually happening. They're not spying technically, because they're not just sending out these drones to see what they see. They're going to be sending out these drones if they get calls from neighbors. And there's going to be a lot of neighbors that just want to have just want to have a nice weekend. It is New York City. There's a million people around, and that means there's a million people around. There's going to be somebody that's bothered by what you're doing, especially if you're having a big party.
Especially if you're having fun.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
If you're having fun, somebody else hates it. Just know that.
Yep. And so anytime that the police get it, I don't know about any time, but when they have the drones available this weekend, if they get a call from somebody saying, hey, there's a big, loud, noisy party somewhere or whatever, they are going to send out a drone that can inspect what's going on rather than sending a police officer to the door. So which would you prefer? Let's say you were having a big get-together this weekend and you weren't necessarily breaking any rules, but it was loud enough, big enough to cause some neighbors to catch their attention, and they called the police. Would you rather have a knock on your door from an actual officer or a drone high above?
I would rather have the knock on the door, because then I'm talking to a human. No one's spying on me. I don't like it when they're sneaky. I don't want you being sneaky around my backyard.
Yeah.
I don't want you to catch me off guard when I'm not ready for you.
It's your private property.
I want to hear the knock so that, yet again, even if you're just having a good time, being too loud, whatever, then I can talk to the police officer. He can clearly know that I'm a good guy.
Yeah, right.
Based off of our conversation. If you just see me from 30 feet in the air, you're going to have no idea that I mean well. And so I want that human connection. I need that human connection. I want him to come to my door, see the look in my eye, and he'll be able to say, you know what, this guy doesn't mean any trouble.
Yeah.
He's just trying to have some fun with his friends. I don't want you spying on me, though. Because then I'm on video probably doing something weird, and that just sounds terrible.
It just sounds...
Who knows what I'm doing in my backyard?
It just doesn't sound good.
Sounds wrong.
It just doesn't sound good. Some people are raising alarm bells that this may actually technically be illegal. I, surprisingly enough, don't have enough expertise on that issue to weigh
illegal.
in. But it definitely just feels wrong. It feels, I don't know.
It feels grimy. It feels sticky and it feels slimy.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. I hate being like any kind of candid video of me where I'm not ready. I know I'm going to be doing something awkward or weird. And I just don't want the police having that kind of video of me when I'm in my own backyard having a party, bouncing around, talking to people. I know I look like an idiot. I could be you're right.
Yeah.
I could be dancing and they could get a video of that.
And
for it to be published to all, you know? I don't want that.
If you lived in New York City, your career could be over after this
Yeah,
weekend.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't want a grimy video of me in my own backyard having fun with my friends. Just come knock on my door. Let's just talk it out. Then let me know who called the cops on me so I can never speak to them again.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Taylor Swift, obviously, has already taken the music industry by storm. But it seems now she has her sights set on the movies as well.
Somebody's got to stop her.
Somebody, yeah. Yeah, I'll say. Taylor Swift just announced that she's got a new movie titled Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, coming to theaters. Obviously, it gives you a different kind of perspective on the Eras Tour that's been so successful around North America already. But check this out. Now that she's announced that it's coming out on October 13th, just in time for my birthday. Might be an idea and have a little outing for you and I.
Oh, a birthday party for you.
Yeah, you want to give me a gift? But here's the thing. She announcing this has caused what was one of the biggest movie releases of the fall to be too scared to be able to release that weekend. I'm sure you're familiar with a movie called The Exorcist.
I'm in danger.
Scary movie.
Yeah.
Big time scary movie.
The latest addition to the Exorcist franchise, The Exorcist Believer, was meant to be coming out on October 13th from Universal and Blumhouse. But now that Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie is going to be out in theaters that day, they've decided to move The Exorcist Believer to a different date so that it doesn't interfere. But so that Taylor Swift and The Exorcist don't interfere with each other. However, this could be good news if you're an Exorcist fan, because it's actually moving up early to October 6th.
But it's moving farther away from the lucrative Halloween weekend.
Yeah. So it's a real give and take.
See, I think they should have stayed.
You think so?
Because I don't think that their audiences cross.
No, but
you think the people that are going to see The Exorcist also were considering going to see Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour? It sounds like two different audiences to me.
Listen, everyone is considering going to see Taylor Swift, The Exorcist Tour, and so therefore...
Hey, what?
Everyone is considering going to see, let me repeat that, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie. And so therefore, some of everyone also must have been considering seeing The Exorcist. And so it would have been a real conflict for them.
I don't think that it would have been at all. I feel like this could have been two separate things. I think they would have been okay.
But think about the crowd crossover, too. Think about, like, having all of the Swifties in the theater, and then you're just trying to go see The Exorcist.
Sounds like two wildly different themes.
I know, exactly. And so there might be, who knows what could happen.
Oh, a fight.
If those two crowds, if those two contingents start to get into it.
See, I feel like as well, I know that people are obsessed with Taylor Swift in the Eras Tour. What is this going to be? Like just a behind-the-scenes look
I think probably
of Taylor?
Some behind the scenes and a lot of footage from the concerts, I bet.
Oh, you think it's going to be just like the concerts again? The highlights?
Perhaps. But how many people have been able to go see every single show on the Eras Tour? And they're all unique in their own way.
Are they? Okay.
So there could be some highlights you missed because you didn't get to go to Denver. You only got to go to
Seattle.
Yep,
yeah.
Exactly.
You missed it in Cincinnati, but you saw it in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you need to see what happened. Some of the best stuff you missed is what I assume. I mean, the Eras Tour is going on now, and they or maybe just wrapped up, and they're doing this on October 13th. There's not a lot of time for editing. It's not like a movie.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't feel like there's a lot going on here. Like, what could this possibly be? But considering that she's been on tour this whole time.
I'll tell you who's happy about this. You know who's happy about this?
Who's happy?
Theaters.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Check this out, Isaiah. In Massachusetts, a illegal backyard volleyball gambling ring has just been taken down.
That sounds wild.
It sure does. Looks like it was all all masterminded by two individuals that were arrested earlier this week. They're now facing charges due to the backyard volleyball gambling ring they had going on, where, I mean, this thing got pretty, for a backyard gambling ring, it got pretty intense. Yeah, pretty big, pretty impressive. It turns out that the people in charge of this actually wound up paving, this one guy paved over his entire backyard and turned it into 2 full-size volleyball courts.
Well, that's just good marketing.
Yeah, is that illegal?
It's not illegal.
That is that the part that's illegal? He had the spotlight set up too, which is where
he put an investment into this.
He did. He was making a lot of money. Over $1 million, it sounds like, went through this gambling ring.
$1 million?
$1 million for a backyard volleyball gambling.
So were people playing games and people were betting on the games?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened. That doesn't even feel that bad. Does it? Doesn't feel that bad?
I guess when it becomes an $1 million enterprise, then maybe it does.
When I think about it, like if me and my friends went and played volleyball and you just happened to show up with Angela and you were like, honey, I bet $20 because A's team wins this game. Is that illegal? No.
When does it cross the line? Well, I'll tell you that the reason that it raised some suspicion is really just because it was so obnoxious towards the neighbors who were complaining about the lights, as we mentioned, that he set up so they could do this every night. And noise as well, because you can imagine all this hooting and hollering going on.
Yeah.
And then all the extra traffic and cars it brought into the area. People were saying they couldn't get out of their driveways. There's just constant people milling about. In
Milford, this was the spot to be.
Apparently. There must not have been a whole lot else going on in that town. You expect this to be like in the middle of nowhere, don't you?
Yeah.
Not in this is New England.
Oh, so it's in the middle of a lot of stuff.
Populated area. But I mean, I guess I don't know the whole story, but I do feel bad because these guys probably just, I've seen this in TV shows before. It starts like with what you were saying. One person bet $20 on somebody else. And the next thing you know, it's getting out of hand and you're like, but I can make some money off of this. I just paid my backyard and all of a sudden I got a cash cow here. And they just take it too far.
They got a little bit greedy. You know what their big mistake was? This was their big mistake. They shouldn't have done it every night. It should have been like a Saturday night thing. Just every Saturday night, everyone can come. But if you're doing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you got to give your neighbors a break.
You do, yeah.
If it was every Saturday night, you're like, you know what? It's a Saturday night. That's just what people do. They have fun on Saturday nights, whatever. They must have some sort of volleyball league on Saturday night. But people don't have volleyball leagues in backyards every night.
No.
So that was a bit suspicious. If they would have just done Saturdays or just on Fridays, they could have let this thing run a little longer.
The neighbors are like, wow, these people really love volleyball.
Yeah, they're playing every single night, I guess.
Night.
Yeah, that's where all the suspicion came from.
I guess.
Next time, limit it.
I wonder if the gambling actually was even illegal or if that was just a part of this whole thing. But I'll tell you what.
It makes it sound a bit more worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But like, they were gambling back there.
But I'll tell you what definitely is illegal, and that is having a full-size concession stand where you sell alcohol without permits.
Oh, that's definitely illegal.
That's going to get you.
Man, these guys are good.
Yeah.
That's a cat. Yeah, like you said, a cash cow. They were not skipping anything.
Probably worth it.
What, did they get arrested?
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.